All right, hey everyone, welcome back to the OC Hive Mind channel. It's Victor again, and I am joined by Sparky for round three of our modern FNM.
How we doing, everybody? This round we have Peter playing Murktide, who seems to be on the play, against Vito playing Yawgmoth. What deck do you like in this matchup here, Victor?
I hate both decks, so if both decks could lose, I'd be okay with that. In the actual matchup itself, I'm not particularly familiar with the specifics. I do think that looking outside in, Yawgmoth to me would have has a lot better engines going on, but we'll let the match kind of play it out and maybe tell us what the tail of the tape really is.
Spoken like a true Omnath player, trying not to show your true colors there. I appreciate that. I do believe, being a Murktide player myself, that it is Yawgmoth favored.
Yeah, I would assume just with the persistent engines that are available, there's only so much spot removal in Murktide, so I would assume there can be points where you're just able to squeak out those card draws. Grist seems to be pretty brutal as well, so
Yeah, casting a Murktide and getting a Grist is the bane of my existence. So we have Vito fetching here. He is at 18 after taking some damage from a Darcy. Pete going up a little bit on cards with a surveil from the bobble on the previous turn and using the bobble on Vito. So he knows about one of the cards in hand. I can't really see all of Pete's cards at the moment. I do see Island, what looks like a Murktide, and a couple other blue cards.
I believe there's also a Fiery Islet, if I recognize the art correctly.
I believe you're correct. What do you think? What do you think 2 mana up from Vito means?
I think we're just gonna obviously just show that it's the classic Orcish Bowmaster. If it was Wall of Roots, it gets jammed. It's not Strangleroot, obviously, so
Yeah,
not much to hide. You're just gonna if you have Bowmaster, you're gonna want to jam it against this deck.
yeah, being able to pick off one of their more potent creatures. Let's see if he does it in response.
Yep,
Very
it's
good
good. And
line.
for everyone at home, remember always do it in response to the surveil trigger. You don't want to let your opponent get to make that delirium.
I don't think he was in danger there with only 2 types in the yard, but yes, I do agree with your line.
Oh, I apologize. I thought there was three, but my math was a little off. That's okay.
Three
Do it
three
anyway.
cards, 2 types. I do, yeah, but we're still good.
It's dead and the
Uh,
universe is corrected.
yes.
Looks like we have a Ragavan, a Ledger Shredder, and a Steam Vents as the
Out of,
iteration.
out, out of those three, what do you like in hand?
In hand, well, you're not casting the Ledger Shredder, and if you're not really hurting for lands, which it doesn't seem like Peter is, I would.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Pete gave up the easy, like, play land, like the draw 2 off of the expressive there.
Yeah, it is really
Wow.
interesting not knowing what his hand is. Hopefully, there's a heat here to cash in. It looks like there is an unholy heat there, so on one hand, he will get full value. On the other hand, not a fan of not trying to build up the board here in some way.
Yeah, I do think Pete should let him choose the target. I believe that it was obvious the target was himself, but
Yeah, the little bit of miscommunication. The target should have already been announced with the ETB on the stack. Otherwise, it would not be possible for Pete to unholy heat it.
Victor, how do you feel about unmatching basics?
If it could be a crime, I'd be okay with it. I am personally not a fan of unmatched of any card, as you know.
Yeah,
It gives away slightly free information sometimes. I know that sounds silly, but percentages matter. So I'm
Ledger, Shredder, pass. I do think there's a bolt in Peter's hand. I think from the Murktide player, I would have liked him playing the bolt there, but maybe on the Orcish Bowmaster.
yeah, I could see that. I don't mind it here either, just because if Vito does go to minus the grist, he can at least pick off the Bowmaster in response, and then upon resolution, then Peter has to lose the Orc army, so he kind of loses a lot just to do a little.
No, I agree. I think that's a good line. The only reason I say that is because you want to build your graveyard back up in these instances. Um, so discarding a card that could be useless if you have another Ragavan in hand or something like that. But you are getting creature type for it being dead. So we do have two types against a Grist. Looks like Vito has 4 cards in hand. A predominant amount of those look like lands, at least one of them, and a Yawgmoth. Ooh, just picked up a Hapatra as well.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what's going on with Pete's hand, but I think the window for staying in this game is closing.
Yes, he sacrificed the Fiery Islet, which again, I think if he kept that Steam Vents from before, he might have been okay in this position. He'd be like developing. Ooh. He has the Stern Scolding. Did he have the Stern Scolding for the Grist? I guess he didn't. I guess he just drew that. Has to be one of my favorite plays right now. Stern Scolding a Grist.
Yeah, because a creature counter spell counters a planeswalker. We're living in fun times where I don't understand anything.
Yeah. Oof. Good play by Peter with the counter spell. I mean, he left the mana open.
Yeah, I mean, smart by Vito, make him have it.
No, of course. Jam your threats. And it looks like he just has Hapatra Yawgmoth in his hand. Really liking Vito's spot right now. From the Murktide side, as a fan and as a player.
Well, this is clearly due to Peter's unmatched basics that his ill fate is happening right now.
I don't think it's necessarily that. I think they were coming from the side of the Murktide player. You have to fight for every inch and every percentage point you get. So it is very hard to be playing from the Murktide side nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, we can just watch here that Peter not getting another land off of this expressive iteration is really starting to show that it's a little impactful.
Putting that Steam Vents at the bottom, I think, definitely hurt him this game. So, and he exiled the Ragavan instead. It looks like Vito's got a stranglehold on this game. Firmly. Let's see what Pete decides to do here. He's got a bird lawyer and a prayer. Although I don't think that bird lawyer is going to live very long.
No, not with the wombo of Apatra and Yogg. This is pretty much interesting not to see some attacks from Vito. I don't really know what he's worried about there.
Yeah, could have got him with 2 of the insects. Interesting line.
All right, Vito obviously showing his knowledge here of making sure that he can,
and also showing off that we don't own snake tokens.
We do not, unfortunately, but I'm sure
they are coming. Do you think that there's any relevance of having snakes over insects? You should have one more snake, though.
Yeah, he should have one more, but I guess you know what? You're going to cash in while the Hapatra's out there. You might as well just take the free draw till you don't want to anymore.
Sure. It looks like his hand is Haywire Mite, Cauldron, Eternal Witness, and a card I can't make out at the moment.
I believe it's a Yawgmoth. I could be wrong.
Okay. He's got a discard.
Yeah, I can't see Pete really fighting out from this position. There's no board wipes that are possible here.
Discarding a removal spell here I don't think is great. Plays a land. I believe he just has Murktide, and it can't be another land. It has to be a spell. It looks like double Murktide. He can go 2 big Murktides, but one of them's getting shot down By the grist. Ooh.
Here's another
This?
card if you didn't want the game to be confusing that can really just make it a fun time.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many cards are in the graveyard that matter for that right now. He's assembled the combo of drawing 12 cards at the moment with Yawgmoth and a bunch of tokens. My main question is there anything in the graveyard that has an activated ability? It looks like it's just
You have Wall of Roots. I see it up there.
well,
I know that's a Miser Ewit from Vito there, something that he personally
yeah,
does.
Vito talked to me, I think, at the end of this event about him running the Eternal Witness, the fact that he can cord for 3, get something back.
Sounded like a chord for 2.
Yep, I think he said Blood Artist, so I think Pete's gonna scoop him up there. And we're on to game 2. Vito ahead.
So being the Murktide player, what are you hoping that Pete brought in this matchup?
I hope he goes up to 4 Stern Scolding. That's my game plan currently, is to add the Stern Scoldings and have Brotherhood's Ends. You need to be able to control the size of their board. Most of their guys have less than 3 toughness or around 3 toughness, and almost all of their creatures, with the exception of Shieldred, can get countered with Stern Scolding. Are there any cards you like on the Yawgmoth side?
To be honest, I'd have to look at Vito's list to see what his sideboard is. Again, my knowledge, unfortunately, of Yawgmoth is just how to stop it from killing me.
Understood.
So, I mean, the matchup again, just because the deck is so grindy, and with Murktide, you're trying to get so much value out of your spells. These creatures being able to kind of do the same thing just seems like it attacks you at just the wrong axis that you don't want to see. So
I personally like, as the Murktide player, they're playing less Strangleroot Geists and stuff like that. I'm okay with a Yawgmoth here and there. Most of my guys can block that. But I do believe there's some amount of endurances. Those are bad for the Murktide player. I do believe if multiple instances of Shieldred, if they have a second one to come in, that's pretty bad. So those are the cards I don't want to see sitting on the other side of the table.
Vito taking Scavenging Ooze coming in. I believe
Skoos, another good card. Skoos, good call out. But we're gonna start with fetches on both sides and a Yawgmoth. Vito looking to go aggro, which I think the plan A is actually very good against Murktide.
Well, assuming Peter took out some number of Ragavan, I can't see him keeping those in on the play.
From as the Murktide player in commentary right now, I'll tell you, we board out 4. They block all of their. They have so many blockers. Ragavan's a liability. Darcy flies, Shredder flies, Murktide flies. You just want to get them dead.
All right, so hopefully Peter can cash in this EI for full value.
I'm not sure how I feel about an EI this turn, unless he has a land, because I think holding up the counterspell was a little bit better. He does find the land with the EI.
So I'm sure it's very much based on the idea that if you have Stern Scolding, right, you're either, in this case...
Ooh, he's got the spell snare! The spice! Peter with the spice! I'm on Planet Dune with this spice right now. He does have 3 in the graveyard for Delirium. I like that play from Peter. That was top tier.
Certainly a good play. I do think there is merit to maybe thinking about the fact that there could be a follow-up Grist.
A follow-up Grist would have been brutal there. I am surprised of the no follow-up with the Cauldron that's in Vito's hand while his opponent's tapped out, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I certainly would have thought about jamming it just so you can start cutting away at the delirium early, just attacking that graveyard as fast as possible, always seems like a
Yeah,
good idea
I
when
don't think you're
playing against
using it
Murktide.
proactively. I think it's more reactive, like you just said, like taking the sorcery, taking the instant out of the graveyard. Is this a Murktide here?
Certainly postures to be
It's a
so,
it's
which
it's a
would be a
main phase
punishment.
tap 2 blue. This might be a punishment for not playing that cauldron. Exiled 5 cards. Big Papa Pump on the board. 5/5. Let's see how it fares. So your back's against the wall and you got a 4 turn clock. Victor, what are the cards you want to see right now?
Backs against the wall, 4 turn clock. Grist is obviously going to be the MVP there. Just that clean answer. Yogg wouldn't hurt. A Shieldra would be nice, just to
Sure.
kind of to fight
Your
it off.
opponent
But
your opponent just went draw go. Are you happy? I don't
if I'm Peter, yes. If I'm Vito, not so much because it just means that the answers are going to be pretty plentiful and it's going to be a lot to slog through.
Vito just peeled a Yawgmoth off the top. Let's see what he can do with it. He has fodder to remove or put 3 -1/-1 counters on the Murktide, bringing it to a 2/2. I think that was a turn where I would have liked to have Cauldron in play. Ooh. We're gonna heat the Bowmaster.
I believe that's lightning bolt actually.
Oh, you're right. I'm
The
sorry.
bolt,
You're
yeah. I mean
100%
that
right.
could be relevant for reach
Cord
purposes.
gets
Ooh, Mace
counterspelled.
Counterspell.
Okay, so he had the counterspell. He had the Splinter Twin combo of Murktide counterspell up. Gets in. Drops Vito to 9. 2 turn clock. It looks like
Vito has a
counterspell, dress down, and unholy heat.
yep.
I
Talk about a trifecta there.
baby, I'm here for it. I think it's a little late on the cauldron though.
Yeah, the cauldron not really going to be able to cash in too much. There's no grist in the yard that gets like the big wide army going. This is definitely going to be on the back foot.
We don't. Besides the dress down, we don't have an answer to that Yawgmoth. Although his fuel is 3 counters at the moment. Because he only has 3 life to work with. I will say that is one thing that I've learned from playing Murktide is taking your opponent's life total down quicker lets them draw less cards. They can't
Yeah,
just pay
absolutely.
they can't just pay 10 life out of nowhere if they don't have 10 life to pay.
No, you'll put them into specific situations where they need to have a blood artist, so that way their life total is irrelevant to the process. But yeah, not having that to allow this to happen makes it a lot easier to stay alive.
Okay. Pete with the still had all these. And we're
Not
on to
sure if I'm
game
a fan
3.
of showing it off, just because maybe he said
I
it out loud. But if you don't have to reveal that, that might not have been something that Vito was 100% thinking about.
True. I do think that Vito, one of the last cards in his hand, looked like a Reclamation Sage. I could have been wrong in that last game, but I do think Rec Sage was on the radar. And
Yes, he did have that.
knowing that he's got a target, that's a huge, huge information swing.
Well, for dress down, it wouldn't matter because the Rex Sage would not have the ability to do so. I believe it's for
You're
playing.
100% correct. I am an idiot.
That's okay. We all make mistakes, but I believe it's because y'all can find itself in very interesting situations where it has no basics in play, and having all red is not where you want to be.
That's true. If you have a wall of roots, you can get rid of all your mountains. Um. Ooh. Is Pete going to play into a possible Bowmaster here? Does he see it? Vito's body language picked up his cards quick. I think he might have it. I could be wrong.
I believe the Preordain's resolving now, so if there was one, it would have shown up already.
Yeah. Has the land. I believe he just got a bauble. I think he topped as well. We got a bauble, trigger the shredder. I'm liking Peter's hand. Looked like a Murktide on the pickup. I see Unholy Heat. Discard. Oh no, Peter. That's one of the best cards in our deck.
Yeah, certainly
He
not a
might.
fan of that discard.
Chalice the Void on top for our opponent. So I like the disc. I could be more defensible if it was the only sorcery going to our graveyard. Not sure how I feel about it right now.
Interesting. Is that a?
It's a preordain and an expressive iteration, so there's only 2 types in the yard.
No, but I believe Vito. It's hard to tell because of the glare, but that looks like a Bowmaster.
Is he gonna tap? I'm assuming he's tapping his mana. Oh, in the end step, the dress down's gonna stick around.
Yeah, a little bit of interesting timing by Vito there. I'm not sure why he wouldn't have cashed in earlier. But,
Sure. He
he
plays
is
the chalice he
unfortunately paying the
drew.
price.
Yeah, he doesn't get anything from the wall of roots that he can do with mana that turn. I see three types in the yard now. The end step, he sacks the dress down. Upkeep, draw. I think that's a Stern Scolding. Oh no, that's a Curse Totem.
Yep, recognize that art as well. Been a favorite of mine recently. In the
Curse Totems.
sideboard.
Definitely very good against the Scales and Yawgmoth decks. Let's see. So Peter's got a land. I think he's trying to play a land tapped. Oh, it's a Canal. Okay. In your honest opinion, with only the possibility of an Unholy Heat that isn't turned on, are you going to jam this Curse Totem?
The hand certainly matters, and not having the perfect information. I think though the Curse Totem is just such a safe play to put your opponent on having something of relevance. Specifically, they can either have
Ooh, he had a
second
second Bowmaster.
which is unfortunately very good against.
I only say that because from what I can tell, it looks like Pete has Counterspell in hand as well. I would have preferred to have like play tap land pass for this exact reason.
Yeah, certainly an unfortunate.
Vito untaps, draws one of the best cards in his deck, which is Grist right now. And I don't think Pete can beat this. I don't think he's got the Stern Scolding. He does have a Brotherhood's End. Unfortunato. I think the boys are going to bring some noise here. Getting in for 3 damage, putting Pete to 15. Grist is on 1. Chalice is on 1. Oh, we knew about the Chalice. Yeah, I think I would have left Counterspell up. So.
Well, Peter will get the cash in his Brotherhood's End, which is not bad either.
No.
Vito's left with what
Vito
he's left with a young wolf that comes back from undying.
That's it, and he just has a Grist in play with 3 mana.
He will not have a Grist. The Grist deals the 3 damage to the Planeswalkers as well.
Wait, it does? No.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing. That card's very good. He sacrificed the Pete Lane to draw a card.
Ironically, this Chalice also is semi-soft blocking Vito.
Out of playing his own cards.
A lot of draws here.
Let's see. I would go max value at this point.
Yeah, with the Chalice being on 1, you're not ever cashing in that Unholy Heat. If anything, at some point.
No, I think he should draw and discard it right now. I don't think he understands he can't cast the Unholy Heat. Oh, no, he got it.
He figured it out.
Yep. Now you have two relatively big threats. Both can block. Ooh, we're getting into dangerous territory. If Vito draws one more land, he can chord, because I think that's what he drew, was a Chord of Calling. He can chord for a Grist. I do believe we have the counterspell for that. But I think we're just serving for... I like going with both. What's your... I think Peter should be aggressive here. I could be wrong.
Yeah, he should certainly smell.
And he
blood
definitely
in the
shouldn't
water.
play his spells into a Chalice of the Void.
He shouldn't, though it is okay because he still does get to at least loot some more. But
he does have Delirium now.
There is a Grist on top revealed from that bauble, so
huge.
Very good, but unfortunately not going to be able to cash in because Peter will probably
plays the Grist. I'm not sure what the other blue card is. I think if the other blue card was a Subtlety, I would have rather cast that to go aggro. But I could be wrong. I just saw a blue card, so. Gets him for 6 again, puts him to 8. We have lethal in play. Does he draw the land to find the other Grist? I can't tell. The cards look a little too similar. He's going to search for 2. Pete had the counterspell. It didn't matter. And we're on to the next one. Well done, Peter. That was the end of this round. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.